You how to replace the ABS sensor on a 2002 Acura Rsx. This works for any model. First, take out all the screws for your bolt, all the lug nuts, so that you can take off the wheel, because you will need to do that. And then, sorry about that. And then you will have to take this clip off of the splash guard. Screwdriver works just fine, but if you have a clip remover tool, that works too. Alright, so the sensor you want is this bright orange one down here. You want to unplug that from here. It's a tight fit, but it's from the top, push down and pull. So I don't know if you can see it a little bit better here, but you see this top part right here, you want to push down on that. Oh, that's tough. And pull. That's out. Then you want to follow this wire, kind of get it out of all of its little holders. So there's this bracket holding it in place. And then if you follow it down here, it's being held on back here, but it's not really like held on. Right here, you can kind of get it loose off of this bolt right here. And then there's another bolt right down here, and this is the actual sensor itself down here. So you need a 10mm because they are all 10 mils. This should be bolted on here, but I don't know what happened to the bolt, so I'm gonna probably find one for this too while I'm at it. Yeah, next step will be taking off all the bolts, taking the sensor out, and putting the new one in. So there are 3 10mm, one here, one here, and the final one is, you'll be able to see it right around here on the sensor itself at the bottom, kind of right next to the dust cover. Before you take off the sensor, if you have an ABS problem, check the fuse. If it's blown, that could solve your problem right away. If it's not blown, it could be this sensor that I'm replacing now, or it could also be these little splines on the top of the axle that are right where the sensor sits. If that's your issue, that's probably the most expensive of the repairs, because you need an entire new axle. And the way to check that is put your car in neutral, spin the entire rotor around, check if any spline is cut or missing. Usually that's not the case. It's almost always the sensor. So you probably don't have to worry about that if you want to do this repair yourself, or if you want to get it checked out by a professional. Be my guest. It's always nice to know. But in my case, it is the sensor, so I am going to be replacing this sensor right now. So take off all the bolts, things should come apart, and you'll be able to pull the entire thing off. After I take off all the bolts, I'll show you guys the entire thing, and I'll show you guys a new one. To take this off of the bracket, because you will need to take it off, it has a clip kind of like the other one at the bottom, so you push it down and you pull out as well. Let me try to show you on the actual part. So it'll sit right here, it'll connect to this part, and you'll push the bottom, slide it out. Okay, so I like to put the bolts back where they go so that I don't lose track of them. This one goes in here. Okay. So, took the sensor off right here. It's hard to see. Right here, this hole. That's where the sensor goes. So, I'm going to put the other one on. Right in here. And just reverse the process. You should be set. Put everything back where this goes. This goes up here. And the other one goes on the wall. And we'll get everything plugged in and see if that solved their problem. Okay, let's try to focus that here. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. This slides right in here, like that. So I'm putting it back on, but to slide it out, you need to pull it. Well, it'll kind of come off, and then you'll need to pull it off from right here. But I'm putting it back on. I forgot to show you guys that part. To unclip that one, you just put it on. Okay. I'm just gonna need to tighten that one. This one back up here, like so. And then the bottom one's already put on. You can see right here. I'll focus. That one's on. This one's gonna be on, and then this one's the last one. Got in. Plug this back in there, and you should be completely set.